Okay, and action.
I'm Dave Matheson, Coeur d'Alene Tribal Council member, former CEO at the casino, Commissioner for Indian Affairs in Washington, D.C., and other various background records, but I'm here to talk about the streams, rivers, and fish, I believe.
Can you tell us stories that you know about salmon?
Well, my father is another tribe. He's from the Puyallup tribe in the Puget Sound, and he was one of the last left kind of traditional people there, and they were kind of on the brink. But so I grew up hearing all those stories. They're kind of intertwined with what I hear here. But I could say what really translates and transfers over is that I think on both sides they said that our old folks lived in a virtual paradise of salmon and trout and other fishes and kingdoms of the water, nations and kingdoms of the water that were here to live with us, if we would be in harmony with them and have respect, and the deer, the elk, and then eventually the horse and the buffalo. And we didn't go without, and in that procuring, I guess, a living and a livelihood from nature, they were told to always be thankful, to be hopeful, to be sharing and charitable with what they took from the earth, from the land, and from nature. And in that way, we would always be blessed as a people. We dance and sing our praises and feel really happy together after we harvested all the fish and all the different meats and berries and roots. In a way, it was a hard life preparing for winter, but it was very rewarding. You can't really have the gain without some sacrifice. You can't really have life without working at it. They say the Creator Himself made it that way for us. We could have all been born rich if it was up to, God could do anything He wants. He's God. But He made it so that we have to work our way through it. And in that, we're going to know what it's like to be thankful and then enjoy the reward because we have earned it. So stories about the salmon, I guess, they are here they're their own nation. What I call the kingdoms of the water and the nations of the water, they are one of them. And there was a time that they were people like us, when everything was like people like us. But they had the attributes of the animals that they became. Like a beaver had these clawed hands, and Barry wanted to sleep all the time. He was a person, very powerful. Rattlesnake had a poison, he just dropped it, and everybody around but him would die. They had all these stories. And the salmon, he or they, these people, they agreed to be able to sacrifice themselves that our people could eat. Well, I'm going to feed the people, and kind of like being with the Creator before He came and changed everything. And same thing with the berries, same thing with the roots. They all agreed this is what they're going to do, and it's a great honor to them to do that. So all we had to do was just take care of them, have respect for them, sing their song, kind of make that prayer, some kind of offering before we took the root or the berry or the animal being from the land or the water, and then treat it respectfully. In that way, then we would have good health, we'd have clear minds, we'd sleep good at night, right on the earth with the fire right there, the water is nearby, and when we drink from the living water and all these natural foods, and our people were strong, and because they worked hard, they were stronger than anybody else in the world. And everybody feared them if they dared cross these Coeur d'Alene lands or my father's tribe's lands, because they were powerful people just by being simple, by being humble, and by being thankful and taking care of one another the way the Creator wanted. So that's kind of the story about them. For example, they were told how to gather these things. The first man and woman in my dad's tribe, and some of these cross over, he would say, like the deer, when the first man and woman, he put them by a river or Coeur d'Alene by a lake. The very first Coeur d'Alene, Indian man, Indian woman, and my father's tribe too. And then he told them, the moon, his name was Moon. He didn't go up to be the moon yet, but he was the chief of the old world. And he told them that I'm going to put this bow in this man, your left hand. You take this bow and this arrow, and even this in the hawk of the deer, you can make an arrowhead from that. And and the woman, he put a petza in her right hand, that she would be able to dig these roots and how to do it and how to make baskets and things and how to gather the berries. And together they're going to bear children, and the people are going to multiply and prosper, as long as we take care of it right. Some things change, but we're all still here. We're all still here. I guess every trick in the book of probably extinction and annihilation was used against our old people. Sickness and disease and germ warfare and evil and trickery and betrayal and massacres and kill off all the horses. Everything was used against our old people. But I guess we could say, nevertheless, we're still here. That's how strong our people are. A lot of people, they would never would be able to withstand that. But we are still here. So I would say it's very important that we hold on to these things that our old people use to strengthen themselves. In a way, I get lonesome for, I guess, our language, being able to talk like a people, the way we should, our song and dance, the way we should take care of it as a nation, and how this land was put here to be under our care. We don't say it belongs to us. We belong to it. But I guess I get lonesome because I see it all checkerboarded up and all the different people, no trespassing here to our people in our own homeland. It seems very, very wrong. But my point is that with this story, it goes way deeper than just the salmon and taking a bite of salmon and then putting the bones back in the earth or back in the water. So kind of a long answer to your question, but if you want me to cover anything else, I'd be glad to do that too.
Well, as a tribal member, why do you think it's important that we bring the salmon back?
I would think it's part of who we are. I mean, to me, I've been saying for decades now to anybody who would listen, nobody gets it because maybe we're so far away. But even the buffalo, I mean, just using that as an example. Maybe we're missing something as a people and our minds have a gap in it and we don't see the whole world right because we're not connected to that buffalo anymore. When we're not connected to the water and to the salmon anymore, it's like something's missing. And maybe like something wrong with these people. And if we just kind of have that again, we can have the whole enchilada, so to speak, the whole envelope and everything that is seed suamsh in mind, body, and spirit. Maybe it would all become revealed to us in our hearts, in our minds, and in our bodies. Physical strength, mental strength, spiritual strength. So that's why I think it's important, that and all the roots and berries and how we take care of the land. This earth, it's sacred, very, very, very sacred. And all the natural resources that are in it are powerfully sacred, where they have, I guess, what other nations, other kinds of races of people would call the fountain of youth, with the beginning of life. It's right there in these natural resources, the water, the earth, the air, and the fire, the elements, and all the things that God put here. And from that, we can live. So our people use those to not only address themselves, because we can stand at the center of the earth, address the earth down to its center and all about the sky up above and the four winds, and we can have some blessing, some power that is ours. And the Creator knows every word we ever spoke in our life, and He knows why we spoke them. He knows every deed and misdeed we ever took or tried to take. He knows every reason or secret power behind why we're saying what we do or act the way that we do. But if our people are true people, we are who we say we are. Our word is our law. Our honesty is our power. Charity to help one another is kind of the sacred medicine that keeps us together as a powerful nation. But we take care of one another. So it's important to get the salmon back for all those reasons, but we have to do it with the salmon and with everything else too. And remember to take care of the earth and these natural resources, and don't ever let anybody or anything tell us we can't have them or we can't take care of them or we can't protect them, because we would have to, our old people would have probably lay down their life to say, no, you're not going to violate this lake. It's holy and sacred, and God put it in our care. And these salmon, they have a right to life, and our people have a right to life, and we have a right to livelihood. And nobody can come here and just start killing off God's great nature and creation and kingdoms of people, animal or human. So that's why I think it's important that these salmon come back for all those reasons and more.
And what are some barriers and obstacles that are stopping the salmon from coming back?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if they could get by the dams, they'd still be here, but they couldn't. So an unbeatable obstacle was put in their path that physically could not be beaten. But God makes note of that. Like I said, He knows every word or every deed or misdeed any of us and all of us ever perpetrated or undertook. That was a wrong thing to do to the salmon and to the people who depended on them. Even the buffalo, they intended to kill them all off. They almost did. I think they were, down to less than 100 buffalo at one time. North America was. That is all wrong. And I know I was raised to believe and understand that you can't make anything. You can say you're sorry. You can apologize. So I'm saying people can apologize. Yeah, we didn't mean to do that to the salmon and the buffalo. And yeah, okay, all good now. My folks, grand folks, would say, no, it's not all good till you make it right. So somebody's got to stand up and say, you guys need to make this right. Put some ladders on these dams. Let these salmon come around. Let the wildlife propagate and prosper in its own world in the kingdom of nature. And the humans need to take care of it right, finally at last, or we are destroying our own world. So, and Native people, we're not cannot just be idly standing by and pointing at somebody else. We have to actively try to make all this happen. So releasing the salmon to me is kind of bringing that all to our doorstep. We are going to do what we can to bring this back. And other people where you have responsibility, you have got to take responsibility. We have got to fix this. There is no other way to do this. The old native runs over here, they're all gone. They're made with prayer and kind of the right heart. We can find a way to bring it all back, and God will just make it good for us and for nature again. If we don't, then I worry for the future, but that's another story.
Do you have any stories of when you were young and fishing and like did you get to go fishing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I would say it's really something to see the salmon run in large numbers in where they fill up the whole river or the whole creek, and they're everywhere. You can be a little boy trying to catch them, running around out there in the shallow parts, trying to get them having a great time. And I'm trying to think of the best one, but it's escaping me. But I would think when you catch a salmon, you're not poor. You're not just some impoverished nobody. You're not homeless. You're not a bum. You're somebody. You take a deer from the forest or the meadow, the same thing. In a way, you are a sovereign native person at that time. And you can be a powerful native sovereign if you share that with people who really need it too. Even though as poor as you might be, all of a sudden you are a powerful native sovereign on the Mother Earth. So I was told that. So I remember when we got our first salmons, me and my brother and cousins, and bring them home, and maybe sometimes they weren't even all that good. I mean, kind of old and beat up and late in the run, but they act, all the old people, adults, older than me anyway at that time, they would say, like they're aho, hey cha, yahoo, way to go, and kind of praise us all up. You cook all that fish and then call people over to eat it, and because it's something sacred and powerful, or when you have that and you know that. So we took that from that point on to be a point and a source of strength. So the story I'm trying to say is that when we use these Indian ways to feed our families and others, we are a native power in our own right. Not only do we have a right to be, but we are. And in that way, we can continue and we can survive and we can prosper, even in the modern world.
How did you feel when they did the salmon release over at Hangman Creek this past year?
I'd say the words that came to me were kind of like Sumesh and Pach Moriman Suten. It's a powerful medicine, and for our people, and if people could feel like, oh, that's cool, but to me there was something even way down deep under there. That salmon was back, And it's that nation of salmon were kind of looking at us, and maybe like war whooping too, their approval, their excitement for them and for us to be back in that creek on our land, on our reservation and homeland. Well, I felt all that. I didn't say anything while I wasn't called upon. I don't have to talk at any or every old gathering. But I had deep feelings about it, so I just prayed and kept it to myself. Came over the side a little bit and sang my own song to recognize all that and to really wear it, I guess, deep in my heart, in my mind, in my spirit. It was a powerful, powerful thing when those salmon were released there on Hangman Creek.
What do you see in the future of, with bringing back the salmon on that day? Like what is your vision of the future?
Where is the video going?
It's mainly
Record?
yeah. Well, it actually the UCA is doing all the tribes. Like, what are all the tribes doing to bring back salmon? And so but we can turn it off if
No,
you
it's
don't.
okay. To me, life is the world, America, tribes. It's like life. Everything is coming to like a crossroads, and to me, we can get all our homeland back. We can use all our rights. We can get back lands that were taken and water and use of water that we have been denied. And we can make it right and clean it up and try to do our best to take care of things right. Or maybe things aren't going to work out so good. You could ask, where's the world going with all the conflict and all the animosity and all the hate for one another? But it seems like we're going to be at that crossroads. Do we love earth and nature and God and our coming generations enough to say, here's what we're going to do for them? I always used to hear some people here say, what have you done to make your ancestors proud? And I always thought why we are so proud of them is because they stood up against anything and everything for us. That we could be here at all, that we could have a blessing to have a mind and a sense to feel the movements in nature and be a part of it. We can't get that from watching screens or TV or hanging out playing video games and eating chips and Krispy Kreme and Pepsi or whatever. It came from them. So to me, I see a chance now for us to put something down that our children, grandchildren, coming generations can use for perhaps all their lifetimes and more and beyond by just how we take care of things right now. We're at that crossroads, and I always talk about it here in this tribal council room. They're probably tired of hearing me talk about it. We have got to take back all our land. If it takes all our money, and let's go make some more. Let's figure it out. But it's not about having things and buying things and being inundated with all kinds of wealth and fancy gold and silver and whatever. It's about what can we do with that and use it to make a better future for our people. Well, I want to be able to say, because I can see that doorway ahead. I'm pushing 70 years old, and I can tell you that you look at life differently at that age. I want to be able to tell Creator and all those old people I did my best. I tried my best to make something better. And everybody else wants it's about re-election or it's about politics or vote for me and I'm going to do this. Well, I guess that's up to them. But I'm hoping we can be native enough, leaders enough, and warriors enough to make a difference right now to do that. So I can see us owning all the land, the fish coming back up the streams and over the ladders, or take the dams out if we can finally solve the energy problem and issue in the world. Or maybe there's other and better ways to do it, and people are going to figure it out. But the way I see it, we're going to be back. Not only will we have returned the nation God put here, but we will be the powerful nation that God put here, and we developed ourselves by prayer, faith, and hard work, and loving our coming generations enough to do the right thing.
Anything else to add, guys? Or is that it?
Did you have any last words of wisdom?
No, I think that's all I can think of top of my head. But I appreciate the chance to be interviewed, and I think the young people really are the future. But it's up to us to tell the young people, keep doing your best. So keep doing your best.
Thank you, David. Clean lunch.